December 20th, 2015. A Japanese bike enthusiast heads into the Mie Prefecture mountains, riding for adventure and to test his newly tuned bike. What should be a fun ride into the hills takes an unexpected turn. As he takes a corner, something catches his eye. On the side of the road, he pulls over and takes a photo of what he's found, before continuing on with his journey. 5 days later, the Sonic community is made aware of his discovery, and everyone has the same question. Why is there a giant Sonic statue in the mountains of Japan? Gaming mysteries are curious and fascinating things. Most of the time, they're limited to either lost builds or cancelled games. But sometimes, on rare occasions, when the planets line up in the night sky, they break beyond just a piece of software and take a larger, more elaborate existence that can continue for years until finally solved, such as the Atari ET landfill mystery. On the other hand, sometimes the mystery can just die. But at the end of 2015, a new gaming mystery had been discovered. It started with a few photographs posted to Twitter, showing a giant Sonic statue hidden somewhere in the mountains of Japan. And with this one image came many questions. Where was this statue? How did it get out in the middle of nowhere? How long had it been there, and who owned it? Many active and predominant members of the Sonic community began to discuss the find, and some reached out to the biker who posted the picture with the hope of getting some answers. Sadly, since it had been nearly a week from when the biker had found the statue, he just couldn't remember the route he took, and he stopped answering questions about the statue shortly after the initial first few questions were put towards him. But some fans were determined to find the statue. And some early discoveries were quickly made that got a lot of fans excited that the location would be found sooner rather than later. The first big discovery was an old Japanese blog from 2009, which had a photo of the statue, and there was even a location listed. It was in the Mie Prefecture, which was the first big clue to its location. We now knew the region. But with the excitement that the region was discovered, came a harsh reality. The Mie Prefecture is massive. It has tons of small mountain roads, meaning it could be a near impossible task to comb Google Street View in the hope of trying to find it, if indeed it was on there. But not undeterred, some fans believed that the region was likely northern Nebari, based on the clue from the blog and the forest and mountain background in all the photos. To reinforce this theory, I even did my own little investigation. The biker who made the original tweet had posted several other tweets on December 20th, chronicling his adventure, including his start and finish location, as well as several stops and a time it took him to make the journey. Now, based on this information, I was able to project a map of the area where he likely went to on his trip, which matched the location given by several other Sonic fans. At the time, fans also agreed that if the location was indeed discovered, it would not be made publicly aware immediately. And there were some very good reasons for this, but it mainly came down to two issues: security and legacy. The statue had no high-quality photographs taken of it, certainly not from every angle, meaning documenting the statue was of high priority. Fans wanted to have some legacy of this statue, some record that it existed in decent quality images or even video. And the second reason was the risk of theft or vandalism. In the past, abandoned theme parks and even gaming venues have often been the victim of theft and vandalism. And if a statue was near a high population area with good transport links, there was a very real risk of theft, especially if there was little security around it. And with the location being quickly narrowed down, fans were optimistic that the statue would indeed be found, and eventually the location could be revealed to everyone. But things quickly ground to a halt. In summer 2016, a new image of the statue was posted online, but fans didn't notice until January 2017, over a year after the mystery first began. And history started to repeat itself. The user who posted the photo couldn't remember the location other than it was somewhere in the mountains. And the trail went cold again. For over a year, there were no further developments, and it seemed like this mystery was dead in its tracks. And then, on March 29th, 2018, the search was finally over. A user on the Sonic Stadium forums posted a Google Street View screenshot of the statue over 2 years after it was originally discovered. The statue had at last been found, but as per the agreement made 2 years prior, the exact location was only shared with a handful of people. The only clues given to its location was a nearby town that was within a 30-minute driving distance from the Kindale University Technical College located in Nabari, meaning if anyone was willing to go find it, they would at least have to get within half an hour of the nearest populated area, and I appointed myself to be one of the points of contact if people wanted to find it. Despite the level of interest, for over a year period, only 2 people approached me with the will to go. But one of the parties either wasn't able to make the trip for another year, and the other just simply stopped contact before I could give them the location. And as time went on, it seemed that interest in the statue and the mystery had all but dried up. There was, however, one small key point of interest which solved one of the many mysteries behind the statue. In September 2008, Twitter user daegg123 noticed that a Japanese TV advert for a Sega World arcade located in Kodama contained a clip of a very familiar statue. It was the statue from the mountains. The original location of the statue had finally been discovered. The statue was originally part of an interior display at one of the many Sega World parks located around Japan. And so far, this is the only footage of the statue that's been discovered prior to its removal. And whilst Kodama still has a Sega World in the area, it's either not the same venue, or the venue has been completely redesigned. With 2019 now a month old, would anyone ever venture into the mountains to find the statue? With so many unanswered questions, it seemed that this statue could potentially become lost, or just remain a mystery forever. But then, on the 31st of January 2019, I was contacted by someone named Nathan Gill, who claimed to be in the area of the statue, who would be willing to go find it on February 2nd, only 2 days away. So after some conversation, I gave him the location. And a day later, he sent me this. What you're seeing is the first video of the statue in around 10 to 15 years. The statue is mostly intact, however, it has sadly sustained damage over the years it's been on the mountain. Sonic's nose is missing, despite it clearly being there in the blog image from nearly 10 years ago, suggesting it's either been broken off or is just worn away due to time. The paint has also lost a lot of its colour, and in some places it's completely worn away, and parts of the statue are also showing signs of physical damage, with the arm showing a clear crack in it. The underside of Sonic's shoes are also missing, and even the supports which hold it in place are showing signs of wear. It's not beyond saving, but it really does need urgent care and attention. Despite all the bad signs, it's surprising how intact the statue is. All things considered, it seems that the thick forest behind it has protected it from most of the elements in the 10 to 15 years it's been in this location. Unlike the recently discovered Sega World Sydney statue, which has suffered a much worse fate. During Nathan's expedition to find the statue, he also managed to speak to a local resident about it and answered a few questions about the statue and its history. In terms of how long the statue has been in the area, the man who he spoke to said it was placed there around 10 or 15 years ago. And when asked about who owns the statue, the man pointed down the road towards a series of farmhouses and industrial buildings and said it was purchased by a group related to those industries and then gifted to the local area. Another interesting note is that the area where the statue is on is quite prone to snowfall, and sometimes the road itself gets covered in quite a few inches of snow, making it look like Sonic is actually snowboarding down the street. With this newly revealed information, most of the mysteries surrounding this statue were finally being solved. We now know that the statue has been in the mountains for at least 10 to 15 years, that it's owned by a local group of farmers and industrialists who apparently gifted the statue to the local area. And it was originally located in a Sega World park at Kadoma. And with all this information in mind, we can now make a very educated guess as to how the statue got to this location. And given how the original Sega World in Kadoma is either no more or has radically been redesigned, it would seem that most of the major interior assets were auctioned off. Much like the case with many theme parks that close down, lots of the assets that are in there tend to get auctioned off to interested parties, and it's very likely, due to the location of where this statue now is, that local businesses got together and decided to buy the statue and gift it to the local area. But since then, it's just been left, with little care or treatment to the longevity of it. So, now comes the big question, which I'm sure you all want to know. Where exactly is this statue? Well, here it is. This is the exact location of the statue as it appears on Google Maps. Details as to how you can find it yourself are in the video description. But what's amazing is that fans got very close to the location 3 years ago, if you compare the original map from that time to where it actually is. So some of you may want to know, why have I now made the location public? Well, originally I was very concerned about potential theft and vandalism before fans got the chance to document the statue. And whilst I still think that theft and vandalism is a very real concern, given the very remote location of the statue, and the fact it's not easy to get to, this seems like a very unlikely thing that can happen. Another reason, though, is when I saw the new images which were taken a few days ago, I was quite shocked at how badly the statue had deteriorated, especially from the original photos that the biker took 3 years ago. It's very close to the point where it's going to deteriorate into a state where it can't be saved. And I want this video to catch the attention of someone who's in a position to take ownership and care of it, be it the group who bought the statue originally, or some kind of local authority, because it would be a huge shame if this statue just crumbles beyond repair and is lost forever. Check out the Sega World Sydney statue for a comparison of what can happen when something isn't looked after. So after 3 years, the mystery of this statue is finally solved. We now know its location, we know where it was originally, and we have a very good idea how it ended up in the mountains. There is, though, one final mystery that we still don't have the answer to. Just what happened to his nose? See you next time. Hey guys, if you liked this video and would like to continue the adventures, please follow me on Twitter or Instagram. Links to both can be found in the video description. If you'd like to help support the channel, why not buy me a coffee at the link below? Every coffee donation is a huge help to supporting the work I do, and it helps me get videos and other content out faster. Even the smallest donation can help keep this channel going. Thank you.